You notice that sometimes when you've been grieving and you start to feel better, there's this part of you that doesn't really want to. It's like it's resisting. And that can leave us caught between two things. We can feel desperately like we want to let go of this pain that seems all consuming, but we also fear letting go of whatever it is that we've lost. It feels like if you can feel happy again so easily or in, for an hour or so, what does that say about the person or thing that you lost? Do you really did you really love them, or did you really care about them that much? You can now feel happy. And that can leave us caught between two things. We can feel desperately like we want to let go of this pain that seems all consuming, but we also fear letting go of whatever it is that we've lost. And that's where I think that things can get misunderstood, because creating a beautiful life doesn't mean that it's a life without pain or grief. And it doesn't mean that, you have to think positively all the time and never feel anything. It's not about that. Creating a beautiful life means learning to let beauty back in after life has hurt us. And that can be surprisingly difficult. It isn't only about death or, losing someone that way. It can be grieving a future we thought that we were going to have. It can mean, you've had a miscarriage and you're grieving the child you thought you were going to have. You can grieve a relationship breaking up, the loss of a career, the loss of a limb, um, your youth. You can grieve that. It's anything where you feel that deep loss inside. We can even grieve a childhood that we never got, or things that other people don't understand and don't recognize as grief. And so, therefore, we feel that, we shouldn't be grieving. But loss is loss, and it can feel extremely consuming, like it's just on top of you. At first, grief can feel like this. It can feel like it's just all on top of you, all over you. It's just there. You wake up and it's there. You go to sleep, it's there. You go and do something else, it's there. You might wake up for a few seconds in the morning and then suddenly you realise it's right there. And people often talk about those different stages of grief that, like bargaining and denial and anger, but our grief doesn't always play by the rules. It has its own patterns. You might feel accepting by Tuesday and think, oh, I've done really well. And then by Thursday, you're right back down in the depths of anger and denial and bargaining again. You may be going all right for months and think, everything's cool. And then you'll smell something, or there'll be a song on the radio, the mention of something you used to do, a familiar restaurant, an anniversary, and then suddenly you're straight back to this, all consuming. That doesn't mean that you've gone backwards, not at all. It's just the process of it, really. Um, and then there'll be like these bits that show through. They're like little cracks that sort of come through, little bits that sort of come through. I don't know if you can see that on there. Just little bits coming through. Little, I think they call them glimmers. Little glimmers coming through. These are those little moments of actual happiness. You feeling happy. It might be that you enjoy like your nice cup of tea and it's like so warm and you're really appreciating it. It could be that you enjoy a sunset, that your grandchild comes up and gives you a hug, or you're involved in a birthday celebration and you actually find yourself laughing. Just small moments where you actually forgot about your grieving. And these little moments can become more. We we can sort of find ourselves being absorbed in a whole movie for a couple of hours and not even realizing or thinking about what we're grieving. So these little, parts get bigger. There's a bit more going on. And this is where it can interfere with our healing process, because we start to judge those moments. We start to think, oh, that was a long one. That sort of, that period went on a bit long. I was actually feeling happy then. What does that mean? Does it mean that, I'm not missing that person, that it didn't really ever matter to me? Because we can unconsciously associate the amount of pain we feel and how long it goes on for with what that thing actually meant to us. So if we get over it in what we perceive is too soon, or we have too long a moments, then perhaps it never meant what it did in the first place. And that's just not true, because the length and intensity of your grief is not proportional to whatever it is that you lost meant to you. Allowing yourself to experience longer moments of joy doesn't erase them or the thing that you had before. And that doesn't mean that you'll completely forget about them either. The two things can exist simultaneously. You can have moments of joy that increase, moments of peace and contentment, moments where you've forgotten and don't even think about it, and that still thing can still matter to you just as much as it always did. You can still carry a part of your past with you and still build the life that you love. You can still love somebody or love something. It can still be part of you, and you can still love what you're doing now. They can exist together, because otherwise we start shutting down those moments that would actually help us to heal, because we're simply making a judgment or a belief based around something that's actually not true. You can have your grief and your little moments, and you can also have other little moments. I know, I call myself an artist. Not very good. You can find yourself laughing even at the same time as all this grief is over you. You can have all those mixed emotions all in one day, right on top of each other, and that's okay. The other trap that we fall into is the why trap, where our brain has to try and figure out why it happened, because it wants to prevent us from going through this pain in the future, naturally. And sometimes there aren't actually answers to why something happened. We don't actually know. Sometimes we're stuck in things like, if I'd only gone there sooner, or if I'd said something differently, or if I'd noticed something, if I'd made a different choice. You'll know what the whys are that you're still trying to answer, and they can trap us. There's safety in trying to work out what happens. If we work it out, then we can prevent it happening again. So our brain just replays these questions and scenarios, different scenarios, over and over, and they can drive you mad, because you can't actually solve it. You can never solve it, so it's a different outcome. The outcome is the outcome. Sometimes that gets mixed up with a whole lot of blame or guilt that we place on ourselves. And it can leave us in a really bad place where we can't move forward. Yes, there can be a lot of good healing coming out of trying to understand something and understanding it from a different perspective. But that's different to replaying loops over and over again, trying to make the outcome different. And some people find comfort in their religious or spiritual beliefs, and this helps them to accept more what happened. Others don't have those beliefs, and they can still reach that level of acceptance. You don't have to take on a belief that you don't actually believe in to be able to move forward from something. You can just simply accept that you don't know what happened or why it happened, particularly why it happened that way, and you may never know, and that's okay. Something else that really fascinates me about how we think about things, and I learned this when I was studying NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming, and that is that not everyone thinks about their past, their present, and their future the same way. If I was to tell you to try and visualize something slightly happy that you did last week, maybe it was you enjoyed a hug or a smile or something that happened, just think about that and then point where you think around your head that memory is when you're thinking. Are you thinking it's back here behind you because it's in your past, or maybe it's over to the left or to the right? But for some people, it's right in front of them. Right, and that was my case when my past, present, and future all sit around here or on top of me. So when you experience grief or something that's happened in the past, the feelings of it feel like they're still happening right now. And that means it makes it a lot harder to get over because as soon as that memory comes flooding back, it's as if it's happening again right now. So just have a think about where you experience your pain or time. Is it perhaps off to the left or the right? Is it behind you? Like, is it sort of, I'm not very good at this drawing stuff. Is it sort of, oh no, that's not going to work. Is it sort of behind you, like right behind here? And that's where your past is. And there's a simple exercise that you can try to sort of figure out if this is something that might be affecting you and how to make it a lot better. And that is to play around with where you see it and feel it around you. If you do, not everyone can visualize their pain, or know where it is visually around them, and that's okay. So, for example, if it's close to you, if it feels like your pain is close, or if it feels that's where you sort of remember things, pick a memory, perhaps not your pain, and practice moving it a little bit further out. Sort of get that memory and move it a bit further out in front of you, perhaps, or move it, if it's at the side, move it a bit further onto the side, and see if you can even tuck it there behind you in the past where it belongs, and a bit further back, and play with it, like bring it towards you a bit more, and then push it further back, bring it forward, push it back. And then if you can do that well, you may be able to do it with a friend or do it on your own with the painful grief memory without stepping down into spiraling back into that grief feeling. Just get a little piece of it and see what happens when you push it away and play with it and bring it back and then push it further away. Just because it's going further away doesn't mean it means any less or that you'll lose it. It'll always still be in as a part of you. And I think that even when we lose something, we still want to believe, especially if something meant something to us, that it's still part of us. And the point isn't to erase the memory or throw it away or that it didn't matter. The point is that you can just give it some more space so that you're able to still live your life and have a life you love, um, while that has a different space, a different place that's there, and it's not happening to you all again right now every time you think about it. So, where does creating a beautiful life fit into all of this? Well, it's definitely not smothering it all your grief with affirmations or looking on the bright side or pretending that it didn't happen. That's not what it's about. It means letting those small moments, those small glimmers, letting more of those come back in. So your grief is still there. You're just allowing more. You're just allowing more of these, and you're moving the grief out here somewhere or behind you, further out, letting it fade a little bit. Still there, but you're allowing more of it, more of those happy moments where you allow yourself to laugh, you allow yourself to smile with other people, to enjoy something that you perhaps enjoyed similar to when you were feeling the thing that you lost. You allow yourself to feel happy about it without punishing yourself, thinking that this means that it didn't matter to you. You understand that they can both exist together, and you let more and more of that into your life. The grief will slowly take less control over you, and you can know that your feelings for it can still be there. The other thing you can do is perhaps turn some of that grief into the happy memories that you had around it. Put some love around it so that your grief is mixed with both. And that allows you to deal with it so much better. It allows you to let love and beauty back into your life and become a part of your life. Not when somebody else says that you should be ready to do this. When you start to feel ready, when you notice more of those moments happening, and you might notice the guilt or the other beliefs creeping in. It's just a little conversation you have with yourself, and it's a letting go, I suppose, not of the importance of that thing that it was to you, but a letting go of the pain, which is what we need to do. And if you're sort of thinking, well, why aren't I over it yet? Maybe something you actually want to get over. It's the same thing. It's just noticing those smaller moments of happiness and just being curious about those times when you judge yourself and saying, it's okay, you still exist. I know you're there. I'm just going to put you over there a little bit further. I'm doing this at the moment. We can do both. And you can do both. You can allow more of those moments of finding beauty, going on adventures, doing things that you love. They can all start to creep back into your life. And you have room in this big life that you have, this big heart that you have room for both. When these cracks start to open up, all you have to do is let them. Just don't close them there. They're, they're the part of you that says you are allowed to be happy. Let those little moments happen. And sometimes when we're allowing all these little moments back in again, we realize that the reason that we feel so much grief in the first place is that we do have such a big heart, which means there is room for both. If you're feeling all these feelings and they feel enormous to you, then know that that means you have an enormous capacity to feel the good, the things, the bad, all of it together. There's room and your heart can grow. It can grow to allow and encompass all of that, all of those things all together. So give yourself a hug and keep creating that beautiful life. And I'll see you next time.